I gotta take that. We are live. Oh, so
Yay!
good. Yay. All right. For some reason, it's not letting me go to a group, but it's letting me go to like my business page. So I'll tell you what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna tape. This is all gonna get taped, and then I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna edit it, and then I'm gonna put it onto the group page, and I'll put it on the trainer page. And I'll put it on every page that I can imagine.
Bonus publicity.
All right. Any page that, I'm just going to put it on random pages out there, Xander's page and all that good stuff. All right. And they'll be like, who is this guy? Why is he doing that? All right. Let's get out. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Sophia followed us. Nice. Thank you. She says, woohoo, you managed it. I managed not to back myself into a corner. All right. Well, thank you for coming on tonight, everybody. If you see this in the replay, there's a reason why, because Be Live was not my friend. Olivia came over here too. I love you guys for following over to my business page. Awesome. We're going to get this done. So, all right. So tonight we have two very special guests. They've been struggling for me to get this accomplished for a while now. So we have Tammy Anczok and we have Deanne Deaville, and they are exquisite writers that are now a part of a bestseller book. Without further ado, welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for sticking with me on this tonight and last week and all that good stuff. So let's go right into it. So, women who influence. Let's start at the beginning. I don't know who wants to. You can draw straws. Who wants to go first? How did you? Let's go, Tammy. How did you get involved with this? Where did you see this? How did it come to fruition?
I've been in touch with Kate for a couple of years. I met her at BTS, a Jack Canfield event, and we kind of kept in touch. And she asked me to consider being, a featured author. And the timing was right, and so I really had to think long and hard about it. And, I just decided to sign on, and I believe it was definitely the right timing for me and the right thing. So I took the leap, and I'm so happy that I did. I mean, this has been phenomenal. It really has. It's been a great experience.
Nice. And Deanne, same?
Yeah, very similar. I met Kate also at BTS, August of 2016, and we had some conversations there, and I was thinking about doing my own type of event, which, I was contemplating at that time what was going to be right or not, but we kept in touch. And then I saw her email come through last November, and, I get a lot of emails from a lot of people and I don't get to all of them, but something about this one, just when it popped up, I thought, I need to read this one. And it was, just divine energy kind of thing. And I read it and went, something's telling me I really need to call Kate and discuss this. So we did. We had a long conversation, had a few others, and decided, yes, I'm definitely going to be a part of this. And here it is.
Nice. So let's go right into it. So who wants to go first? Tell us parts of your story. Tell us what your story is.
Want to go first, Tammy?
Sure. I'll jump in quick here. We had a strategy call. And this is like something that Kate does with all of the authors, and we kind of pinpoint like what our chapter will be about. We go through, like a little bit of a masterminding process, and we decided, what the chapters would be about. That's how it went for me. And so the title of my chapter is "Who Do You Think You Are?" And it's actually a story of an identity shift, an identity crisis that I had when my last two children left for college. And I was a bit lost. I was actually very lost. I missed them, but more than that, I really didn't know what my purpose was anymore if I wasn't full on, involved in taking care of them, looking out for them. And our house went from being very noisy and active to pretty much silent. And I had just the hardest time with that. And I started to, suffer from insomnia from it, actually. I'd keep myself really busy all day long, but then in the middle of the night, I'd wake up and I was still, struggling with what my purpose was. And I started doing some soul searching. I read Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principles, How to Get from Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. And I definitely knew I needed to be someplace other than where I was. So, the work began then, and I started, doing some transformational work, I guess you would call it. That's when it began for me. And ultimately, writing this chapter has led me to my new purpose, which is coaching and training. I'm a certified Canfield trainer now, and I'm speaking about the process. So it's just been amazing. But my chapter is about identity, and who we maybe think we are is not based on what we do.
Mm-hmm. All right, Deanne, you're
yes.
up.
So
yours is a little bit, I don't want to say more revealing, but yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty revealing, and it was an interesting chapter to write. The chapter is called From Cause to Cure, and it wasn't necessarily designed, or I didn't set out in the beginning to have that type of title or the outcome that I think it ended up. I think it was it morphed as I was working through it and talking with Kate. Basically, though, I'm a nutritionist, so I walk the talk, so I eat well, I exercise, and I'm my ideal weight and everything you're supposed to be doing. And yet I got diagnosed with cancer. So why does that happen? Well, cancer doesn't discriminate against gender, age, anything, but at the same time, we do know that it's largely lifestyle driven, and yet I'm doing the right things. But at the same time, I knew innately that I wasn't doing all the right things. Just superficially, on the outside looking in, people could see what I was doing and say, wow, if you can get cancer, anybody can, which is, partially true. But what was going on the inside was I was repressing a lot of feelings. I was ignoring a lot of the yellow warning signals. And, much of the audience here, in the Success Principles training or creating successful coaches, we know from looking and reading through the Success Principles that we get warnings all the time. And it's really important not to ignore them. And yet I was so crazy busy in my life, and like Tammy, having kids, and with the demands of life of working, maintaining a house, having the kids, getting 3 meals in the plates every single day in and day out, driving to field hockey practice, going to choir, doing all the things. And my life definitely came secondary, and that was my job. That was my primary job. So, but me as a person was secondary, and I just kept repressing and ignoring things that were happening and that were important, and ultimately led to the diagnosis of cancer. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's a long time coming. And so the realization that I basically caused my cancer by ignoring what was going on. And it was the stress. It wasn't just simply ignoring, because if your life is really good, you're really happy, you're really balanced, and you're doing the right things, you probably won't get cancer. But I was ignoring key signals, key warnings. Things were not right. And I was repressing things. And that is what caused basically mitochondrial damage, which leads to cancer.
Mm-hmm. So in both cases, was it tough writing it?
For me, very tough, because it was extremely revealing in that I hadn't shared most of this with anybody at all, ever. And so in writing it, it was an exercise, going through my own feelings and then deciding, okay, I've honored my feelings by writing them down, but will I actually be willing to share this?
Right.
But I think it's important, because I feel like a lot of people repress their feelings. And we know from junior high school that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed. Mm-hmm. And emotions are energy. So if you're repressing your emotions, you're repressing that emotion, the energy, but it doesn't go away. It changes into something, and it can manifest into damaging the mitochondria, which can cause cancer. It can do a number of things to your health. but it's going to do something. So it was important to me to get it out there.
Yeah.
I would like to just jump on that too. It was difficult to write. It was very difficult to begin with writing the chapter. Like, even though we knew what it was going to be about, it was like, okay, how do I get this out? How do I put it on paper? How does it translate in words to, our audience? And I did struggle with that at first, and then it just started to. Writing is really interesting. It does kind of evolve during the process of.
Uh-oh, I think she froze.
Oh no.
So
there it comes. It froze up. Your screen froze up on you, Tammy. Are you back?
yeah, well, I'm okay on my end.
You're there. Okay.
You were frozen
Repeat that
before.
last part again, because you were saying about how when you put it down on paper, it changes you.
It kind of evolves.
Yeah.
It's part of the process, and I'm so happy and thankful to have gone through the process so that I have a better understanding of, how this works itself out. It really does work itself out in an organic kind of way. You don't really plan. What you plan ends up being some.
Yeah. We lost Tammy again, but that's okay. She's going to come back. So, Deanne, do you through the process itself? So, have you ever written a book before?
I haven't. I've started about a dozen probably.
Okay.
And then I get so busy with other projects, and then later I look back at what I wrote. It's like, yeah, this is good, but now I need to update and create new stuff, and it's no longer relevant. And it is, but it's like there's more to add. So I would update and then shelve it again, and never completed any one, which is another reason I decided to do this with Kate. I thought, this is a simple one chapter. I can complete this and get it done and have this one. It's a milestone. It's a stepping stone. And, with anything in goal setting, if you look at the huge, big picture, it could be really overwhelming. Taking one step at a time is much easier. So this was an excellent process to go through.
Because you had dates that you had to hit, right?
Exactly. And it was small and manageable.
Yeah.
And it was manageable versus writing a whole book. The one I'd love to work on is going to take me years to write. I know that. I don't have time for that. So I'm not even working on it now.
Yeah.
But one chapter or a short ebook, I could do that.
Yeah. How about you, Tammy?
I'm actually in the process of writing the book. I was already in the process of writing it before I took on Women Who Influence. So I'm going back to that now. But the title of that book is Can You Fill My Tank? Why do I feel empty when my life is so full? And it really kind of does go back to the fullness of life, all the things that we spend our time on. We're all so busy. We're all running from one thing to the next. And at the end of the day, is there fulfillment? Are we doing what we're doing? Are we on purpose, or are we getting off course? So that's basically the premise of Can You Fill My Tank? So that is a work in progress. I'm going to get back to that now. And Deanne is right. Writing a chapter, biting it off a chapter at a time is the way to write the book. Basically, we just have to do it like 12 times.
Yeah, and just write. That's really the whole crux to all of it is just start writing. Just write.
Yeah, and like when you know the book that needs to be written, it needs to be written like as soon as possible. Yeah. Like that's what I've learned.
Right.
And, it's hard if you don't have a deadline. You can put it off and put it off. Like Kate gave us deadlines, and so that was like,
exactly. And that's like with anything. If you don't give yourself a deadline or a finish date, it's like you just kind of keep pushing it off on the back burner. And
strongly recommend it to anybody that's considering writing.
So what I'm going to assume this, but so it was easier doing it as a team effort. So did you guys have weekly calls, monthly calls? What was the time frame?
Well, Kate did set up marketing type of calls or like brainstorming type of things. And they were recorded, and sometimes we're able to tune in, and other times, like many times I missed the calls, but I would just watch the replay later. But we continued to talk daily on a Facebook group page, just within our own group. And everybody's posting all kinds of things along the way, whether it's like, oh, I just shared my story with my family, or something small like that, or little victories of, hey, I got an interview on this show, right?
Yeah, nice. So you started the process, you had the deadlines. So walk us through your writing. You send it in to Kate, and then Kate says, this really sucks, rewrite the whole thing. No, that didn't happen, right?
Fortunately, she didn't.
And Kate's written children's books. I mean, a lot of different things. And so take us through the rest of that process. So what do you have? Certain deadlines, rewrite deadlines? And how long was the total process from beginning to end?
I think it was probably similar for both Tammy and I, although I think I joined and agreed to start it later because it wasn't until about mid-November for me. And we had a brainstorming call, and Kate wanted the first draft within 3 days. And she said it's best to do it within that period of time because we just come off this call. We've just talked a lot about the story, and ideas have flowed, and it's just raw and fresh. So just write. Don't edit, just write and get that out to her. And then the process began. And then there's a rewrite that comes back to me, and the editors have gone through and said, here's some suggestions. And sometimes it can be really simple grammatical type of things, and other things is like this paragraph will be better before this one kind of thing. And so then we just go through the process and acceptance or rejection of those changes and look at the title, and just it kind of went back and forth for maybe 6 weeks, I think, because I think the final was due mid-January, I want to say, but Tammy might have a better memory on that than me.
And we lost Tammy. So Tammy,
no.
Yeah. Totally went out. So we're going to hopefully get Tammy back on here. But tell us about, what were some of the other things along the way that you did? I mean, in the process, did you have photo shoots? Did you have?
Yeah, well, I had already done a photo shoot, but we didn't do one like with Kate, but she said, submit a professional headshot kind of thing. And if you don't have one, you might want to get one sort of thing. But I had just done mine recently in anticipation of something like this. It was actually right before I did the chapter. But other things that we did is one of the authors from her last book that she had several co-authors that, she's done, this is the third of a series. I think the last one was it Women Who Ignite?
I do believe so.
I think so.
Yeah.
So one of the authors in that book does a lot of marketing. And so she was on the team this time around and provided prompts to do, blogs. And she did a great workbook for us to look at and say, okay, Mondays is a blog day. And on Tuesdays, you're going to connect with potential affiliates. And on Wednesdays, you're going to do Instagram posts. And on Thursdays, you're going to do this type of thing. And so she did a daily to-do list, essentially, which was very helpful. It was a little overwhelming because, for example, Instagram's like, oh, I guess I better start an Instagram account. So for some people who use it all the time, it might have been very simple for them to use the marketing techniques she suggested. For others, like me, I had to begin it. So I was a little behind the curve. Yeah. But we, in the digital age, I should be using all the marketing possibilities that I can.
And we have Tammy back.
Sorry, I lost my internet connection. I have no idea.
Oh,
it's okay. That's okay.
I'm back. I'm glad you guys want to keep going.
I was paranoid. It was something that I did. So it could be. Who knows today? So you write the book, you get it together, and then you cut along the way. You're developing a marketing plan, I'm sure.
Right.
And that's just Kate probably is the forefront of that, the pivoting point. So she's saying, send it out to your, if you have an email list, send out saying that this is coming. So are you doing that weekly as the release date is coming up, the publishing date?
Yep.
Okay, so each week you're sending out emails. And is Kate providing the script for that, or what you guys are saying, or what are you guys coming up with it yourself?
Yeah, for the most part, we come up with it by ourselves, but she does provide prompts. It's like, this is the gist you want to get across.
Yeah.
And it was really helpful because I have a problem with self-promotion. I'm not good at that at all. As soon as I start talking about myself, I feel like I sound either greedy or like, look at me, and I don't like to be the center of attention.
No.
But what Kate continually reminded us is that it's not about me. It's not about my story. It is about getting the message out to the world, not only my message, but the other 29 in there as well, which are really powerful messages that can really change a life. Right. And, from my perspective, I am treating my cancer holistically from an alternative perspective, which isn't right for everybody. And I've done a lot of research on it, and I monitor it very carefully. So I know it's right for me. But I wanted to let women know that there's options out there, because we're led to believe, especially with cancer, that there's only one way to do it. And you hope that you'll live, but you may not. And it's simply not it's simply not true. There's so much that we can do. In fact, some of the things, depending on the cancer and the stage, et cetera, some of the things, if we do it alternatively, you'll be far better off than going with a holistic or non-holistic Western medicine type of approach. But most people aren't aware of it.
Totally.
So it's important to get the message out. And again, that one is my message, but there's 29 others that are the similar types of things, that these are really important, impactful, influential. And it's like, if somebody reads it and says, wow, I wasn't aware of that, then that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
You just change a life. Yeah.
Similar to you, Tammy? Similar perspective? Because everybody, even though Kate's sending out these emails and that, there's going to probably be out of the 20 or the 30 authors, there's probably going to be some that embrace it a lot more than others. There's 30 different people in the room.
The messages of the stories will reach different people in different ways, of course, depending on where they are in life and what their needs are. It's very hard for me to be this visible as a wife of an entrepreneur and a mother of 4 children. They were my superstars, right? So I'm like behind the scenes, making sure they have everything to be successful. It's very hard for me to step up and take a step towards success in my own right. And so that part of that visibility was really hard for me. I'm a more behind the scenes girl. So I had trouble with self-promotion too. But we were given templates and like all kinds of different schedules that we could use or not use for promoting. And it's a lot easier for me to promote the book than it is to promote myself.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't feel like you're bragging so much.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's like you're bragging for the other 29 and not yourself. And
Exactly. But I have to say, I am really enjoying this whole process. The visibility, I'm starting to really embrace it. Where I used to have so much like I didn't have.
Well,
really.
Yeah, and you can use it now. I mean, are either one of you going to use it as like a calling card for speaking and things of that sort, or what are you going to use it for?
Yeah.
I'm absolutely using it for speaking, and I'm using it for to help with my next book. Because this book we've been so blessed with great success with this book already that we have now, we can say we are authors. We are best-selling authors. We are international best-selling authors now because of the speed the book has taken on Amazon, the presence that it has already. So it is huge, calling card, business card, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And same for me. And I'll be talking to some local independent bookstores and doing some talks basically about my story and about alternative approaches to cancer. And it's more than just the cancer. As I mentioned, I'm a nutritionist, so I bring in the nutrition side as well, which is, helpful for this to use this book as a launching place.
All right. Yeah, no, and that's totally, I think that's the aspect that some people don't look at as far as how to use it after the fact. And I'm sure Kate probably walked you through some of that aspect too, which really helps when the first time you're writing a book, doing a collaboration of this and going through, having someone that has done this before with Kate, walking you through that. So now it's like when you go to launch your own book, it's like, oh, I got to do these things. Now I have these things that I have to do. And hopefully you probably stowed those away into a file on your computer, right? You know, but you have all those, now you learned all of those things.
Right.
Yeah, it's just phenomenal. Did you, I know Kate has her set covers that look similar in that.
Right, yep.
So did you have any input, or did you have any aspects on that, or artwork? And I haven't seen the inside of the book at all. So is there any artwork that's inside of there? And
so I happen to have a copy of it here.
Well,
so imagine that. I didn't get a copy before it came out. I did. So a lot of people actually had it on launch day, and I didn't. I ordered it on launch day. And so this is the standard cover.
Okay.
And it has all the authors on the back.
Nice.
And so this is one option. And I have an option of, instead of this circle with the little icons in it, it's a teal circle with my photo in it. And so that's going to be, and then on the back, it just has my picture with some information about me. And so that will be coming out in a couple of weeks. And that's the one I will use when I go to speak with bookstores and I do my little book tour, or, speak at corporate events and that sort of thing for my training events that I'll do.
Exactly. And then do you buy a specified amount of the books and that?
We can get them at, the printing cost kind of thing. We have initially a bunch coming to us. I think 100 are coming to us. And then we just order more as we need to.
There you go. You're not going to fill your garage up with them, and
my garage is full of other stuff. I don't need. That's the beautiful thing about print on.
Fill it with books.
But that's the beautiful thing about print on demand, right?
That's right. I don't know if you caught the interview I did with Forrest Willett et al. But Forrest talks about how he wrote his first book, and then he ordered a bunch of copies, and he goes, and then the truck pulled up. And I had like a whole pallet full of books now that were in my garage where my car used to be. So it's like time to get out there and speak and sell those books.
Right.
Yeah. So what type of I'm sure there's different, you're probably both working different organizations but what type of organizations are you guys going to go to do the speaking and that beyond bookstores?
I'm going to do a couple of coffee shops, yoga studios, local bookstores. I will probably do some speaking in schools, like at the high school level.
Yeah.
So that is kind of, what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Deanne?
For me, I'm going to hit the corporate market. I'm in Silicon Valley. And I just read a startling statistic this morning that only 13% of employees are engaged at work. And it's been dropping steadily. So people are becoming more stressed. They're less engaged. They're more involved with not even things outside of work, but they're looking for more in life. And so this is where the success principles comes in. And I also recently was certified as a Canfield, success principles trainer. So I will be incorporating that along with fundamentals of nutrition and stress management.
Yeah. And it all goes hand in hand on that.
Absolutely. Especially with the story that I have to bring now with the cancer diagnosis and how I brought it on myself.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Well, that's great. What else can you tell us? Come on, words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom.
If someone wants to, so if someone out there is saying, and this is going to creating successful coaches, is going, and I always get, and even when I'm coaching people, it's like, I ought to write a book. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to write the book first, and then I'm going to do a website, and then I'm going to do. what's the advice?
One step at a time, and listen to your heart, because your heart has the greatest wisdom. We keep an automatic response that we say is like, oh, I'll have to think about that. Don't think about it. Don't use this. Use this. Feel it, because that is our ultimate guidance.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree completely with following your, listening to your body. Like for me, I was awake in the middle of the night. Like that's not normal. That wasn't just that wasn't just an age thing.
Right.
I would say just get some quiet time, give yourself time to reflect and really think about who you are, what you stand for, and how, if your life isn't in alignment with that, don't be afraid to make changes, and to really take care of yourself, because one of the things that I learned is Gary Zukov says that your authentic power is when your personality aligns with your purpose. And when I heard that, I knew I wasn't living from my authentic power, because I knew I was not in alignment with my purpose, because I didn't know what my purpose was. And it was really my responsibility to figure that out. So, that really hit home for me. And that's where I'm trying to shift into. And I can't tell you, my life has changed in 2 years. Like I could never imagine that I would be speaking or be an author or be doing these things that I'm doing. It's just incredible. And I'm having so much fun. So I didn't know I could have this much fun. It's been like I said, it has been scary. It's crazy that it's been scary, but pushing
in a great way.
It's good.
It's good way, pushing through that fear.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do, but what is on the other side of that? I think I have a T-shirt from Jack Canfield that says, "Everything you want is on the other side of fear," and that is honestly the truth.
Yeah.
I learned that myself. So.
Yeah. And just do it. Yeah. As far as writing, I mean, Tammy, when was the best time for you to write? Morning, night, afternoon?
I really love to write in the morning.
Morning.
I like to go for a run first, get a coffee,
Sure.
kind of do those things. Then I love to sit down and write. And I have like a window of writing that's like about 2 hours. And the first 20 minutes of that 2 hours, I'm just getting warmed up. Probably nothing.
Yeah.
And the last 20 minutes of that 2 hours, same thing. I'm like, it's and then it's out. And then I can go on and do other things.
And Deanne, how about you?
Same thing. Morning time, I get up, and my morning routine is I do my 30-minute meditation first thing before I do anything else, or I tend not to get to it. So, and then after that, then I just start writing.
Yep. Yeah. So find the time. I'm the same way. It's like early mornings are like the best for me. Oh my gosh. You do the meditation right away, and running. I can totally, when it's warm out. Yeah. I'm in Wisconsin. It's cold here. And I'm like, I really got to get out of Wisconsin. But yeah, same thing. And it's like once you get, and running is like a meditation. Deanne, I don't know if you run at all or that, but it's like when it really is a meditation, because you just do. And it's like, you're not thinking, all the thoughts kind of go away. It's a similar meditation.
It's a moving meditation.
Yeah. There you go. See, Deanne has all the right verbiage. I like that. I need Deanne here more often for me. Yeah, and so that's a crucial part to this that I tell people too. It's like, find the right time for you, because there's some people that are late night people. I'm sure out of the 30 there was some late night people where it's like that's their time. I totally don't understand that, but it's their time. I'm like a 4 a.m. person, so it's like I like 4 a.m. I'm just like I can go to it, and that's more with me. But yeah, so find your time and just do it. Just start writing, and you can organize it and get that and figure that all out later. But just start writing. Yeah, and you'll get on a trail in that. I can't believe that you did the first draft, though, in like 3 days. Was that same with you, Tammy? It's like, just go do it?
It wasn't that quick for me. It was like, I don't know, probably took me a couple of weeks to really get it down. And then I had to go back through and we had a word limit, so I tried to stay close to that.
You had to dial back, or you had to add more?
I'm sorry, my dog's.
Oh, that's okay. So you had to dial back from the word limit, or you had to add more to it?
Oh, no, I had to dial back.
You had to dial back. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's one or the other. And then you self-edit. Did you self-edit? Like you're like, oh, maybe that's too much to say, or too intimate, or too, yeah.
I definitely cut it out.
Yeah. And then you're like,
And I was way over the word count anyway, so it was easy enough to cut out.
oh, but you cut out all the good stuff?
Oh no, I don't think I did. I think I kept enough of the good stuff in, and I was still on. I think I'm one of the longer stories in there. I think.
There you go. Well, that's okay. That's okay. Well, we were struggling with having this interview. It's going so well, though. But
thank you.
And thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell about the process or where you're going to be? Just promote. It's on Amazon. Go and buy it.
It's on
paperback,
Amazon.
right? Is it all paperback, or you guys can get hardback?
No, there's
I don't think so.
No hardcover available. It's all paperback.
There's no hard copy. Okay.
It's slightly on sale right now on Amazon. I ordered a few more books because I keep giving my book away.
Right.
Yesterday, I'm like, no, it's my only copy that I had.
You can sell
Order another done.
Yeah, a couple more to get. But it is actually, I don't know, it's a couple dollars less right now for some reason. So if anybody wants a copy, now's the time to get it. It's a few dollars cheaper. I don't know why.
Great.
Nice. Well, then go on right now and order up some on-sale copies.
Yep.
They don't make as much money on them, but you can always make a donation to them when you do that. So they're not going to refuse that, right? Well, thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you for struggling along through the beginning. I promise I will put this out. We'll pretty it up. We'll edit it and all that good stuff. So we get out all the bad stuff in the beginning.
Yes.
But we got to it finally.
Good. Finally.
Oh.
Thank you.
Well, stick around a little bit, but for everybody else, have a good night, and I hope you enjoyed. And go out and buy the book, Women Who Influence.
Women Who Influence.
Yeah, on Amazon. So, but stick around.